My Adventures with Superman is a ridiculously charming show, and it really validates a long-held belief of mine that animation is the perfect medium for these characters to exist within. We're only 4 episodes in, and so much about this show is impressing me. The characters and their dynamic with each other, the world building, the tone, the humor, the animation, and most importantly, the character development of Clark Kent himself. Spoilers ahead for episodes 3 and 4. One thing I love about this show is that it's a fresh take on the character that also serves as a love letter to other adaptations of the character. For example, the show used Livewire as the villain in the first episode. Livewire was a character created for Superman, the animated series, so the decision to use her was a great way to pay respect to what came before. Episode 3 felt like a tip of the hat to Superman 1978 with the whole Lois trying to get an interview with Superman story. From Superman flying with Lois to Lois interviewing Superman on a rooftop. What makes this version so refreshing is that this Superman doesn't have any answers for Lois and is far less confident in himself. It's a great way to show the difference in where the Superman is in his personal journey compared to one who is more established. Episode 3 does a great job of giving more depth and personality to the characters. We get some really cute moments between Clark and Lois, a great introduction to Intergang and their group dynamic, and a very funny introduction to the planet's 3-star reporters. Something that has really impressed me with this show in general is how well executed the humor is. It's not overdone. It's not a distraction. It doesn't detract from the earnestness of the story. It's very well done and charming. Every episode has Clark discovering something new about himself and getting closer and closer to the fully fledged Superman. In this episode, he unlocks his heat vision, and this way of progressively making Clark stronger and more in tune with his powers is a great approach to his origin story. Overall, this episode was pretty good, but I personally enjoyed episode 4 a lot more. Episode 4 did some things that I really loved. It further developed each of the core group's characters and did a damn good job of it. This moment between Clark and Lois, where they open up to each other, particularly Lois to Clark, felt very organic and heartfelt. The chemistry between these two characters continues to strengthen in a very believable way. Lois giving us insight into her father is also a great way to lay the foundations for the character of General Lane, who I'm sure will play a bigger role in the series going forward. I also really like the way they've approached Jimmy Olsen's character in this series so far. I was afraid that they were going too far in the direction of simply making him a comic relief character without much depth, but the end of the episode shows us that he's more than a two-dimensional, quippy comic relief character. He's beginning to feel like a third wheel in the group, and it will be very interesting to see how he deals with that as the series goes on, and also how he grapples with his friend potentially being an alien. An element that this show is really nailing is the world building. I love the introduction of who I presume to be this show's Lex Luthor. He was introduced by Dr. Ivo as Alex. He has red hair, and his general demeanor screams Lex Luthor. I love how this show is not only an origin for Superman, but an origin for the villains of Metropolis as well. Making Lex Dr. Ivo's underling, his personal assistant, who no doubt is the intellectual mastermind behind a lot of what Dr. Ivo does, is a clever intro to the character. I say this because Dr. Ivo is clearly a reckless, tactless, stupid character, and his speech that he delivers to the crowd is something that sounds like something Lex Luthor wrote himself.
Okay, my assistant Alex went all out, so a round of applause for the little people.
This comment from Ivo is also a great way to sow the seeds of a Luthor who hates people who are undeservedly above him in power and status, and hates being seen as the smaller man when he believes himself to be the biggest. It's a small moment in the episode, but it's a really intelligent piece of world building. I'm enjoying this show, but by no means is it flawless. I have to say that the 22-minute runtime is far too short, and the story is really advancing at a breakneck pace. It's a testament to how well this show is written, in that they still manage to pack a lot of depth and heart into such a short time frame, but I do wish the episodes were a bit longer. It's a minor gripe, but the pacing is the one issue I have with this show so far. I honestly didn't expect them to have Lois find out the truth about Clark so early, and the short runtime and season length makes it feel a tad too early of a reveal, but it was a well-executed reveal nonetheless, and in line with the intuitiveness of this Lois Lane. I quite like that they've decided to rip the secret identity band-aid off instead of dragging it on, but I really hope that they let the gravity of this reveal play out properly, instead of being forced to rush past it all due to the constraint of short episode length. I can't recommend the show enough. Give it a watch if you haven't already and let me know what you think in the comments.